Hey everyone, it's Andrew, and welcome back to Adventures of Sarah. This week, we're exploring Estonia. If you've checked on our Facebook and Instagram accounts, this week you'll see a bunch of different photos and videos from Estonia. And today we're going to talk with my friend Helen, who's our local guide for the tour, and we're gonna talk a lot about culture. Kind of what Estonia is, because I know it's one of those countries people, I think they've heard about it, but they don't know much about it. We're going to talk about some of the music, some of the dance, and go over some of the things that we see on the tour. We're not going to do like a day by day thing. I want to kind of give you more of the vibe, the atmosphere of what Estonia is. But first, I'd like to introduce my friend for almost 20 years, Helen. Hi, Helen. Thanks for coming.
Hello, everyone. Yes. Tere, like we say in Estonia. Tere, tere.
All right. Uh, yeah, I think I remember Tere and I believe I remember thanks, which is Tanan.
Yes. Tänan or aitäh.
Yes. So I guess before I ask you kind of what you think, what kind of how Estonia is for you, I'll just say that the language here is one of those things where it's like it looks so strange because it's not related to too many things other than Finnish and Hungarian, which I'm guessing most of our guests don't know those languages very well at all. But you got a lot of vowels, and I live in a place where we don't have a lot of vowels, so I think that's what makes it most difficult for me. But what I wanted to say, Helen, is I want you to let people know like kind of how you see Estonia. I just preface this by saying I think everyone knows, and if you don't, Estonia was part of the Soviet Union. It's way up north, very close to Finland. I think it's like an hour and a half by ferry across the Baltic Sea. Um, but I have to say this: I think of all the and I've been to almost all the ex-Soviet countries there are, except for two or three. Is it doesn't scream or even really whisper like Soviet USSR. It really, when I was going through all these photos and everything else today, I was like, this looks like what I think of as Scandinavia or someplace in Northern Europe. So I think it's not what people think it is. But why don't you tell people kind of how you look at your country?
Sure, yes. We cannot get by our past. So it is true that it is a post-Soviet country. And when I was a kid, I was growing up in the Soviet Union, and I have all those stories as well. But actually, even during the Soviet Union period, Estonia was the most advanced among the 15 Soviet states. So right off when we got independent 33 years ago, the economy really started to bloom, and we were really we really wanted to be one of Scandinavian countries or Nordic countries. This was like our inspiration and something that we were aspiring for, even though the Scandinavian countries necessarily didn't want to recognize as Scandinavian. But anyway, we do obviously have a lot in common, climate for one thing, but also a love for technology and nature, traditions, roots, all that kind of thing. But yes, I have to say that from my experience with working about 25 years as a tour guide on and off, mostly with English speaking guests, lots of them from the United States, I have seen that Estonia always comes as a surprise, always.
Mm.
And as a positive surprise. And I have just had so many people telling me that, they didn't really expect anything, but those people who come here. These are the people who have been everywhere. They have been to Japan, they have been to Paris, Rome, Lisbon, seen the ancient pyramids, seen the Mayas pyramids, everything. And now, let's say that this Baltic area or Baltic states or Estonia is, one of the probably last ones down the list, but they are always so positively surprised. And what I see, what we have to offer is, well, first of all, it's nature. It's we have a lot of very beautiful, pristine nature. Half of Estonian territory is covered with different kinds of forest. It's It's pretty rare now in developed countries. Uh, Also, we are very digitalized. We are where we have everything is digitalized here, which always comes as a surprise. Food always comes as a surprise, as being really, really excellent. But what I think that is actually the best in case of Estonia is that we are such a small country. I mean, we are very small in territory. We have just looked it up. We are like uh, little
You're
bit
smaller than
smaller.
Slovenia, and
Yeah,
Slovenia is
yeah,
pretty small.
smaller than New Hampshire and Vermont combined or something. Anyway, it's small, and we only have like a little bit over 1 million people. So this means that we basically know everyone, and this connection and actually the human touch and the human connections and the heritage is something that always amazes my guests because we still have a lot of these ancient traditions. We are very much rooted in nature, but also in our cultural heritage. And my tours are always about meeting people and creating these connections with the people because when people travel to, let's say, I don't know, Paris or Rome, they mostly, what do they look at? They look at the buildings, right? But here, I mean, of course, we have also like a long history, but we our territory was cleared of ice, continental ice sheet just 10,000 years ago. So everything that we have is is newer than that. But here we mostly focus on people, all this cultural heritage, and the actual human connection that I think that people who are traveling nowadays, that's something that they are hungry for,
Yeah,
and
and when I was
that's
going to
something
say
that yeah.
when I was putting our kind of presentation together the last couple of days, I was kind of thinking like because I was reliving the tour from 2024. Just so everyone knows, we ran this in April of 2024. So actually, this year's tour is going to be almost the exact same time period, end of April, 29th of April to the 9th of May. Um, but what I was thinking about was like, hey, every place we go, it felt like we're going into someone's home, even when we weren't. Just the way it felt like, and I felt like we're the only people there. I mean, Tallinn is the capital aside, which any capital city is going to be like that. But even there, of course, this time of the year, it wasn't so packed. But really, that's what I felt like. Not just like, hey, we did go to people's homes, but we go to a place like, maybe it's a museum or it's a workshop or whatever, and then you just have these local people there that are talking to you, showing you what they do, or playing you music, or showing you all this tangible like history and culture, and all of it are in these very, very kind of, I want to say remote. It's not remote. It's just that you're kind of like very small places, very like kind of idyllic places. And I guess I don't think most of the tours that Adventures of Sarah run, we don't really do that. And so this is something that is really unique. I tried to compare it with Slovenia a little bit, but even in Slovenia, you kind of run into just more of everyone there. And here it just felt like every place was like everyone was waiting just for us to
Yeah,
share
well,
something.
I would actually even say use the word exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
It is a pretty exclusive experience, and like you said, it's April. It's actually a very good time because the tourist season is just starting, and there are not loads of tourists yet, and everyone is really looking forward to you. Yeah, you could really feel, and when we were doing the tour, you could really feel that people were really wholeheartedly waiting for us, and they were really grateful and thankful also for them, this creating this kind of contacts and human connection after the long winter was very important. So it goes
Yeah,
both
and
ways.
it seemed like we were the only people on the ferry. We go to
Yeah.
what's the island we go to on the tour?
Kihnu,
Kihno.
small line, Kihnu.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And now I'm like, I was thinking, I was like, if there was other people on the ferry, they were probably just going to the island to do some kind of job or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
or
Locals
visiting,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
or visiting someone.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Estonia has actually quite a few islands, and
Mhm.
we went to. probably one of the smallest. So I mean,
No, 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 no,
no, it's
no, no, no,
not.
no, no, no. We
No.
have about 1,000 islands.
Oh, okay. Well, then it wasn't one of the smallest.
Yeah,
Well, at
it's
least
it's
one of the
like
ones that the
I don't
ferry
know,
goes
like
to.
sixth or seventh largest
Oh,
actually.
okay. Yeah. Well, put it that way. It like it, like it might be the sixth or seventh largest, but it feels like very like, hey, like I think we're the only person like doing something on this island today,
We
other
we
than
might
like
have
waking up.
we it could have been that we were the only tourists at that time at the island. It gets very busy in the summertime, but April, May is perfect to go.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we thought too. Well, I mean, now with the weather, you just never know. We basically there was like right before the tour started, it was spring everywhere in Europe, and then all of a sudden winter came back. And then during the course of the tour, it's like, oh, here's spring again. Oh, today's kind of warm. Maybe I'll take my jacket off. And I think it was like sunny by this is a photo of Tallinn the last couple days of the tour behind me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
yeah,
actually, I was
all
just thinking,
seasons.
we actually went from snow, from actual
Hmm.
snow, to t-shirt weather
Yeah,
in 7 days.
yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It was so bad. Yeah.
that was unique.
But also, we started from the north, and even though we are such a small country, actually the temperature and climate differences can be pretty big, especially in spring, because the sea, well, we started around from the, north part and the sea, it keeps everything cooler. And then when you go more continental and more
Mm.
south, then you can really feel that the spring is advanced a lot, even though it's, such a small territory. So it
Yeah.
was really interesting to see all these different seasons and really within such a short period, you actually experience the whole spring.
Yeah, and what's interesting because I mean, when you look at it on the map, you realize, okay, it's really small. But like I think we stay at four different places. I think on the tour,
I think
and
it's more.
we don't have any really long days. But you do notice like, hey, we're traveling now, and now this is different. And like what people are wearing or kind of the vibe of certain places feel like so. There's a lot of variety in kind of a small area.
That is true.
So I'll let people know for me like, hey, how did Andrew find Estonia? Like, because I like sniffing out these places that are a little bit off the beaten path. But my first time in Estonia was in 1999. It was the fourth country I'd visited in Europe at the time, and I was there right around end of October for this All Souls All Saints Day. And that's when I stumbled upon something which I got into a little bit more later, which was all this beautiful music, a lot of it choirs. And I remember I went to a small church in Tallinn and I saw this like I think they were teenagers, like teenage girl choir. And I was like, and it was just like there's only candlelights there. It was like super atmospheric. And then I realized, oh, okay, Estonia has a lot of that type of, let's say, classical and choir music. And then I think after that I learned a little bit more about the whole like song festivals and things like that. So can you tell us maybe a little bit about kind of some music and singing in the culture or how you kind of like protested
Yeah.
through song?
Well, Estonia is known for its singing revolution, and I know there is even like a film about
Yeah,
maybe
there
about it, the
is.
singing
Yeah.
revolution. That yes, in the end of 1980s, when Soviet Union was breaking apart, yes, we had all these big. Well, not like song festivals, but let's say, yes, gatherings of people where the people just started to sing, and there were like a whole lot of new songs written specifically for, getting Estonian independent, and they were like really patriotic songs, and everyone knew them by heart, and then yeah, kind of all these big meetings were really about singing, like united singing, and it was really powerful. I did go a lot of to these meetings and sang along, and it was really, really, really powerful. But apart from that, yes, we have the song and dance festivals, which was the tradition that started already in the middle of the 19th century and still going strong. So every 4 years, we have a big song and dance festival in Tallinn. We have other song festivals in different small places, but choral singing is very, very important in the whole country, and all kinds of okay, one thing is like let's say chorus singing, but then there's also folk singing.
Mm,
Folk singing tradition is also very, very strong in Estonia, probably among the best preserved in Europe. But we really take pride in our folk singing, and it's a really popular genre as well. And
mm.
we have these folk pop bands that are really, really famous, and there are a lot of people who know how to play these traditional instruments or sing old Runo songs, and yeah, that's a very, very big part of Estonian culture, singing.
I think one of the reasons I ended up finding you was, I mean, I'd been back to Estonia many times after '99, and I
Mhm.
went with my dad in 2007, and I wanted to see some places I hadn't seen before, and I'd always read about this Setu area of Estonia, and it might have just been as easy as, hey, is there an English speaking guide for Setu, or you were in Lonely Planet? I can't remember which. But that's when I first met you back in 2007, and I remember coming to your house, kind of in the wherever it was, in the off in the countryside.
Yeah.
Um, and it was such a neat thing, because when you read about these things, you're like, oh, this is cool. This could be either really cool or just totally boring. And you also kind of like, how am I gonna feel this culture? But I definitely am intrinsically interested in these smaller groups of people that live, let's say, within a country, but they're kind of like their own set culture or their own set peoples. I still find that fascinating, and especially because most of them, you just see a name and that's all you know. And so I think that's how I ended up hiring you, because I just wanted to kind of dig into that more.
Yes, that's remembered very well. My son was 6 months old, and I was, carrying him with
Yeah,
me
that's
throughout
right.
the tour. That's pretty cute.
Yeah,
He
that
did
was
the
like,
whole tour with us.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? I made a little photo kind of collage of different places and different people and different things on the tour. So I'm gonna play that for everyone, just to get a vibe, because I think by now maybe some people have heard of Tallinn. I mean, certainly the cruise ships probably in the last 10 years or so have discovered it. I know when I first started going there, and I still think it's the case, maybe it's changed a little bit, but it seemed like that it was one of those quintessential medieval towns. Like, if you hadn't been to Europe and had an idea of like what some medieval town looked like when I went there the first time, I was like, holy, I mean, this is like a movie set, except it's all real, which, is cool. Um, all right, let me get this going here. All right. I think I remember all those days now, like looking at those because all those pictures for everyone watching, all those photos were from our tour a couple years ago. There wasn't anything from any else. I just figured I'd put everything there. That's why a lot of people photos. Um, but looking at that, the first thing I have to think, Helen, is like I ate a lot of cake on that tour, and I'm not really a cake guy, but damn, there's some really we'll get into food in a little bit, but there's a lot of really good cake in Estonia because I'm like I think I had it every day.
Yeah, that's what often people are really, really surprised about. You know, that when you go to a random cafe, like the cake counter is just amazing. Yeah, we love our
It,
cakes,
it's
definitely.
it's crazy because around here it's just it's like okay like there's some variety there's like three croissants if you're lucky and a few cookies and maybe one or two this and if you go south from here it's like then there's more of the baklava stuff but
Mhm.
like in like Budapest, Vienna, those are great for cakes, but those aren't like Estonia's got fruit cakes and other kind of cakes that no one else has because half the stuff I don't even know what the English translation was.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
yeah,
wouldn't either.
the cafe cake culture there, like maybe it should be like culture, music, and cakes.
Cake. Sounds good. New
We'll
name
sell
for the tour.
we'll sell it as that. Yeah. So
Yes.
how much cake can you devour? The other thing that of course popped into my mind is all the Setu stuff, and I want you to tell everyone about that because when we're talking about all the traditions and music and everything else kept alive and different smaller groups of people basically that have their own way of life living within Estonia. The main one, which is the one I had always read about, was the Setu culture, and that's something that you're a big part of.
Yes, yes. Well, we do have lots of smaller nations, if you can say, or let's say cultures, like on this island, the Kihnu culture, and in South Estonia, Võru culture. But I think Seto culture is the most outstanding for sure, because it's most different, and it's the best preserved, and it's really, really unique on the world scale as well. And just to explain it very briefly, the Seto people are, well, they are Estonians, but we usually say that it's like an ethnic group of Estonians. But the major differences are in history. Like their history is very different. I'm gonna speak all about that when you come to the tour. But yeah, for the most part of their history, they have actually been part of different Russian states, which makes it very different. And they also Orthodox, unlike Estonians who have traditionally been Lutheran and are now mostly agnostic. But and then they also have really well preserved a lot of their traditions related to religion, music, dancing, and the most outstanding cultural feature is the singing tradition, which is called Seto Lelo, which is a polyphonic type of singing, which is also then listed on the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. If you have never heard of this list, that's your homework to check it out. It has beautiful traditions, practices, crafts from all around the world, and Setolelo is one of the element on that list. And
Mm.
yes,
And
I'm part of that community.
mm,
Became part of that community about 25 years ago. I'm singing Seto Lelo as well. I dance the songs. My three children all play music. I'm the dancer. And yeah, it's a very, very specific group of people, very hospitable. Like when you go there, you can really feel that they are very, in a way, they are very conservative. Like this is, and being conservative is also the reason why the culture has been preserved so well. But at the same time, they are also very open. And yeah, that's gonna be like a very, very important part of the tour too. And I'm really glad that I get to take you to this Setomaa, which is Seto area, which is in my heart.
Yeah, yeah, and it's great because well, I mean, I love this like the art, like the like to be honest, like I think the one thing Estonia has that is a little different maybe than a lot of places in Europe. You still have a lot of interesting colors and patterns, and I notice this now in art and clothing and design and things like that. I really have to say after spending more time east of Europe that most of those countries have a lot more color and everything. I kind of see Estonia having a lot. And I have no idea, but since the language came from the East, then maybe there's something else because I know some of the other whatever groups of people that speak a language similar to Estonian, other than the Finnish and Hungarian, they're all Russia and East and things like that, right?
Yeah, well, the scientists still discuss where the language actually came from, but yeah, this is also very interesting, and we are going to go into more depth during the tour. But just to generalize, Estonian, Finnish, Hungarian, and these other languages are Finno-Ugric
Mm,
languages. Um, or Ugric languages. There are different words, and basically they are like completely different from all Indo-European languages. So you all speak, English, Norwegian, German, Spanish, French, Italian, Romanian, Russian. All Slavic languages are related to each other. But then Finno-Ugric languages are basically as different as Chinese. It's just that we share the same alphabet.
mm.
Everything else is pretty much different. And what we sometimes make these jokes that in Estonian language we have no sex and no future, which means that the words don't have gender, for example, so no sex, and there's no future tense. Yeah, we use different things
Wow.
to express
Okay.
future.
Now, do Setus, do they speak a different language or do they
Uh,
speak a different dialect of
It
Estonian?
is the Setos themselves call it a dialect.
Mm,
Actually, in Estonia, historically, there have been two languages, North Estonian language and South Estonian language. During the history, North Estonian was chosen as the basis for, let's say, written language,
mm,
and South Estonian languages remained spoken languages.
mm,
And then Seto is one of those South Estonian languages, or sometimes it's called dialect, sometimes a language. But it is different enough that, for example, if there's someone interviewed in Seto language on our TV, then there are subtitles.
mm. Wow. Okay. All right. And the thing that also I thought was so unusual is I would figure like if I met someone like yourself who's a guide there and lives there and is into that culture and you're a big part of this like would you not I want to say community center I'm not sure what you call that Setu is kind of like it's not really a museum I don't know if it's like a cultural like institute there that we visit but what's interesting is that's not what you were born into so um which to be honest like all these people I meet from these that are in these very tiny ethnic groups or whatever like that's them and most of them like Setus they don't have their own actual country they live somewhere else but I think like all of those people they're just like well their parents were that and grandparents were that and you kind of said I think I'm going to get into this Setu culture because why not.
Well, yeah, things are always more complicated than that. I didn't plan it like this. It just kind of happened. But yes, I have been very lucky that I have been welcomed by this community and kind of been accepted. I think the big part in that is that I have shown genuine interest. I have learned the language. I have learned singing. I take part in traditions. I practice this life pretty much daily. For example, yesterday we had Christmas. Set those celebrate Christmas and all holidays 2 weeks later, according to the old calendar. So this means that we actually had Christmas yesterday and went to the local Orthodox church and took part in the service. And when the community sees that you are doing everything, then yeah, they just accept you. And now I work there as well, so I'm part of
Yeah,
that. I'm part of
it's
that.
great. That is such a that's such a fascinating day on our tour there, and everyone gets to see you dressed up, and then kind of teaching everyone, and with all these other well, these other now I have to be in my mind, I'm like they're all other ladies, or is that are there men too? I mean, or the only because I'm kind of thinking in my head the only men dressed up were the with men on the tour that were dressing up, but not the actual like Setu guys there.
Yeah. That's another thing that very often people are kind of wondering about, like, where are your men?
Yeah, I was like, what the
Especially
hell?
like especially in tourism, like it is true that in tourism sector we mostly have women working here, so men are doing different things. But of course, we like if we speak about Seto, then very often people ask if the men are singing as well. And yes, they are singing. They have their own groups. In Setomaa, men and women don't sing together because their voices just kind of conflict or they don't combine. But they do. But women definitely sing more, and we have more women singing groups. And when you come to the tour, you will probably mostly see women. Like in the case of Kihnu Island, the men will mostly be at sea because they are fishermen mostly. In our case, men would be, some of them would be working at the fields or in the forest, or just they use some other kind of companies, and it's mostly women that you see in tourism.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I recall from that. Real quick question, then I'll show some other videos. Do the men also sing polyphonic style too? Is the
Yes,
style the same?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Yeah, I think in because the other place that had a lot of polyphonic singing is Georgia, and
yes.
I think it's only men. I don't know. I never saw like a ladies one.
Also have women singing.
Oh, they do.
I'm
Okay.
working on a project on polyphonic singing with them, so I know.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, that would be a good excuse for you to go over there or for them
Been there a
to
couple of
come
times.
to
Yeah.
come here. Okay. Yeah, it's actually funny that the some of the Georgian folk singers and musicians I've seen them in the Baltics. It
Hmm.
seems like they're really popular there.
Yes.
So like actually have good I think I saw in Tallinn and Riga 10,
Hmm.
15 years ago. So yeah, it's a nice kind of exchange of different cultures, but with some things being a little similar.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna show some videos of is it Kinu
Kihnu,
Island?
Kihnu,
Kihnu.
Kihnu.
Keith News. Yeah, it's tough. Now I understand when people come to Slovenia and they're like, "How do you say this?" I'm like, "Oh, I thought it's kind of easy." Then I realize, yeah, it's not because yeah. Why don't can you tell us? I'll play some stuff from Kinu Island, and then I'll play some of the things from your performance with the rest of the Setu women. Maybe you could tell a little bit people a little bit more about this Kinu Island, and
Yeah,
that's the kind of island I remember. Like this island is run by the women. There's no men there except maybe who worked on the ferry or something. But maybe give us a little setup, and then I'll play some of the music and some of the dancing there
yeah.
that not
Per-
only the locals do, but the guests participate in.
Yeah. Well, Kihnu is like the second best known cultural area in Estonia, where they have also really well preserved their culture because of their relative isolation. Because it's really small island and they are a little bit far away from the mainland, so it's not so easy to get there. Especially like in winter time and during the spring and fall, it can be stormy or whatever. So they have lived in isolation for a very long time. But yeah, so historically and also now, a lot of men are occupied on boats and different vessels. So for historical reasons, obviously. So this island is mostly run by women, and there have been several films and documentaries made by this area as a matrimony. It is really led by matrimony, and women really have power there. They are in all kinds of power positions. And it's just mostly women that you see there. They have also really well preserved their traditions regarding their national clothes, which are very colorful. Also, singing and dancing, music is very big part. Maybe not so much singing, but more like instrumental music and then dancing to that. So it's they and they are very. They also have like their own dialect. So yeah, very, very different color and interesting culture to visit. But yeah, let's
Okay,
see a
cool.
few clips.
Let's take a look.
Yes.
Oh, okay, hold on. Where is where did my where did my
And maybe interesting to know that Kihnu Island is also listed on the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage as a
Mhm.
cultural space. So
Mm.
this cultural space definition means that the whole culture, all elements like all singing, handicraft, food, everything, lifestyle, dancing, music, language, everything is as a whole is listed on the UNESCO intangible cultural um, heritage
Heritage.
here of
Yeah, yeah.
humanity. Yeah.
All right. I got it. I got it working. Yay.
Teie oodate, kas teie Soomes jõululised, kas teie Soomes jõululised või teie kuurab jõululised või teie kuurab jõululised või olete Harju aeda varga või olete Harju aeda varga, otsi pooled põrgulised, otsi pooled põrgulised, kuidas aga meie siia saime, kuidas aga meie siia saime, ees oli üheksa ojada, ees oli üheksa ojada, kaheksa kalameretä, kaheksa kalameretä, setse seisavad jõgõda, setse seisavad jõgõda, kümme külmä allikasta, kümme külmä allikasta, obomeid.
All right. Then we have some. Sorry. Well, that was great. What I was just thinking was like, wow, there's a lot of young girls and a lot of elderly women like together, and you don't actually, well, where I live, where modern city places, you don't see much of that anymore, which is cool that you have that there. Okay, let's go back to all right, we'll go to the next. We'll go a little dancing from the guests and the
Mhm.
locals. I think what was interesting was like because like all these concerts, they were just for us. That was like every place we went was like, all right, here everyone's just waiting for our group, and it's we get the private concert, the front row tickets.
Yes, that's the way it was, and that's the way it's going to be on the next tour as well.
Okay,
Very, very
so
private, very exclusive.
exactly. That's like Estonia. It's like the E is for exclusive too.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a tourism branding slogan thing we can get going there. Um, so for the next, I got a couple clips. That's the two guys with the accordion and I'm going to say Estonian bagpipes because I
Mhm.
don't recall what they're called, but that's what it reminded me of. Where was this again? Was this in
That
Viljandi?
was in Viljandi,
Okay.
like in the central part of the country, and Viljandi is the home for Estonian Folk Music Academy. So we
Okay.
visited the Folk Music Academy, and those two boys
Mm.
were the students of that academy. They now, I think now this year they graduated, But there are actually a lot of the students have like their own groups or their own bands, and they give little concerts. And you were right, this one instrument was Estonian bagpipe. So you're
Oh,
very right.
okay, all right. Well, we're
Yes.
gonna see one of the guys play the accordion on his head. Because I was like, well, I got to choose something. I'm like, that's kind of impressive. You don't see that
Yeah,
every day.
sure. They were really
Because I'm
cool.
wearing a hat and it's okay. And if you were really good, then
Bravo for that. I mean, come on now.
playing on your head and just dance.
So they're students then, yeah,
Yes.
yes, and then this is one of those things, like if you come on the tour, like you got to bring your dancing shoes,
Oh,
like
yeah,
you need a little,
definitely. Hmm.
hey, if you need
Yeah,
a
we
little
did.
liquid, if you need a little liquid courage before these things, because you're going to get drawn into
No
dancing,
problem. No problem.
I'm
We
sure
do
Helen
that too.
can set you up with some little shot of something that'll help you out. But that's just kind of the way it is.
Minu metsakünnaleks üks rikas teine vaene, üks rikas teine vaene. Taaritas tiridam tiridam, taaritas tiridam tiridam, taaridira, taaridira. Küsis rikka käest see vaene, küsis rikka käest, mis on. Miks oled sa nii murelik, miks oled sa nii murelik? Taaritas tiridam tiridam, taaritas tiridam tiridam, taaritas.
Yes, it almost seems like a musical chairs kind of thing, where you're like, okay, now I gotta like get someone else to come in here so I can
Yeah.
get back into the ring of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's see a little bit of your Setu songs here. Oh, I mean, the outfits are crazy. I have to say, the one thing that I really love, and that's one thing you just don't see much in Europe, maybe in Romania in one area, but costumes. Like
Mhm.
I dig all this stuff, and it's so colorful and all this silver, and it is so interesting for me. So
It is
I'm glad.
very, 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 very special. I mean, I have had people on my Setoma tours. They have been like literally everywhere. And then they later come to me and say that this was like their top three tours because of that depth and the cultural, uh, just a quiz, yeah, just the exclusivity and the clothes and the singing. And it's really, really unique.
Yeah, and again, it's just like, it's the like, hey, it's just us there. We get
Mhm.
the concert and we get to join in and
Yeah.
and and learn too.
Mhm.
Visla puolvivere, kuldne noorik, visla puolvivere, helle, helle roodamme puoldare lävel, kuldne noorik, tamme puoldare lävel, helle, helle roo, saara puol sanna takka, kuldne noorik, saara puol sanna takka, helle, helle roo, kalli.
All right, so can I say like, hey, what are the lyrics about there in that
Well,
song?
this specific song was actually a wedding song.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but in Seto tradition, weddings have not necessarily been a merry event because for a very long time it was arranged marriages.
Mm.
So yeah, but I don't know if you, those of you watching and listening, if you recognize that I was one of the ladies singing. I was wearing the traditional costume, and it's very often happens that when I'm, dressed like, oh, I'm dressed like now, and then the other day I appear in my Seto costume, then people go like, what? Like the voice matches, but the appearance is like totally different. I mean, it changes it so much, and that's why I one of the things about the Seto tours, what I love the best is the dress up as a Seto workshop because it really shows you how a person transforms when she or well not so much he but especially like a woman is dressed up in a certain costume with all the hair things and how it really really changes you, not just your appearance but also how the women are holding themselves, like the pose and everything, and like the
Mm.
dignity. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's like you get to be, well, you're some kind of actor, but with a little different motivation than a normal actor. And one of the things we do on this tour before we go to the next video is, and we had it in the little kind of video presentation, all the photos from the tour, is we go to a place where they do all the kind of medieval costumes and they dress us up in whatever outfit we want. And just doing that was like, okay, like I've never done theater, and I've also never like been in some kind of court back in the medieval days or Renaissance days, but it totally gives you that same vibe of like, wow, I'm a different person with this on, you
Yeah, and
know?
it's so much fun, kind of change your personality a little bit just for an hour or so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
All
very
right,
nice.
I think now we've got some of the guests in doing some
Our
dancing
church
here.
holidays, we already mentioned the August
Oh.
19th holiday, which is followed by a big outdoor party. And this is like an, old time catwalk, and dance in the middle and you show all your handicraft. And then, of course, the men, but not too much the men, but maybe older ladies, they will check out how you move and what your handicraft like because they want to, pick brides for their sons. So.
I think the dancing is the next clip
Okay.
here. But I love that. Little instruction, little motivation, all that. That's really good.
Right.
Right.
Steps to the right.
You're the right. You're the rights, guys.
Hey, you got to, work on your footwork before you come on the tour. I know. Hey, I got two left feet, so
That's
I
why
give
you
it
were
my best.
filming.
Yes, exactly. That was sometimes you're like, okay, I'm gonna get out of this because I need to. How can we show other people how much fun we have if no one's videoing it? So, last thing I'm gonna show because this is culture, not with singing and dancing. Is I made a little clip together of I was talking with a few guests from the last tour recently, and they brought up the Samovar Museum. Samovar is the big Russian teapot that you kind of see everywhere. But someone's got, I think it's in their home. Seems like their home. A Samovar museum in their home, and that's on those shores of what is it, Lake
Papers, Lake
Papus?
Papers, or
Yes,
Peipsi, as we say,
yes,
Lake Peipsi.
yeah, exactly. Because I read it, and I'm like Pepsi. I'm like
It's
that
almost
sounds strange,
Pepsi,
but
almost
it's
close enough.
exactly.
Lake
And that has
Peipsi.
all these interesting little villages where people are making, we visit people who are making different crafts there. The Samovar Museum. I don't know where
Well,
we were at for the lunch, but that was amazing. And that,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, well, just a little bit. This group who are living on the shore of Lake Peipus, these are actually historically been Russians, Russian migrants who emigrated from Russia in the 17th century from religious persecution.
Oh, are they old believers
Yeah,
then?
old believers. So
Okay,
this is
yeah.
the old believers culture, but also now we have new people or Estonians moved them in there. So actually, the lady who is introducing us to some of our culture, she's not an old believer, but she's moved into the community, just kind of like me,
Oh,
and
yeah.
is now one of the tourism leaders in the community.
Ah, interesting. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
I've seen old believers. I know there's some in like Ukraine, Danube Delta,
Yeah.
around Black Sea, anywer that's close to
In the
Russia.
States, Argentina, lots of places in South Africa, America. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to leave because I don't know. I mean, I don't really know all that stuff. I know the Catholics at one point changed things, and so there's some people who are like, "Oh, I believe all the old stuff," and this was the same, I guess, kind of with the Russians, where the Orthodox Church kind
Mhm.
of changed the rules or whatever, and these
Yeah, they did.
people
Yeah,
were
yeah. There was like
persecuted
a
basically.
big reformation, and the old believers didn't want to go along with this reformation. So they wanted to keep the old rules, but they couldn't. So they were kind of some of them were even killed, but they were basically made to leave.
All right, well let's check out the House of Samovars.
Hostess of the Samovar House. So nice to meet you guys. Please welcome inside the house. We have one room. We leave our footwear in the corridor. Okay? Okay. So come on inside. Thank you. We have 2 minutes there. Just
Wow. Look at this.
I mentioned you that this is the most typical summer Vesuvius took with them. You can guess.
There's somewhere.
Yeah, this is the most important. Come closer. So, what we have here is that in our region, these are this here. I cannot say one of them is the most one, but I have reasoning for.
Yeah, I know.
So samovar is a water boiling system because strong tea comes from the kettle and they mix it in the cup. It's only for the water. There's no tea inside. So also there are specific traditions about tea drinking that you have specific cups and I have different cups. Yeah. I don't know, did they mention it in the museum as well? Yeah. That you visit it always with your own cup.
And so I always remember like, okay, you sip it from the actual like what do you call it?
Saucer.
Saucer.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, such interesting techniques. But yeah, I mean it's I mean there's even some of those ones look even like steampunk. I mean there's so many different designs for samovars. And yeah, that's like again like it's a museum, but it also just feels like I'm going to this woman's house. I think the place we had lunch at was the same way, and it is really neat. It's kind of like we're sneaking around and hanging out with locals, but they're sharing with us all these really interesting things. And I think the reason there's not a lot of tours like this is there's just not a lot of places you can do this in. And to be honest, Helen, when I thought of this thing about 3 years ago, and I said, oh, I want to do something in Estonia, and I want to do something with you, and like, hey, you don't even live in the capital, you live in Tartu, the second city, which is also beautiful, and you obviously guide in the Setu area. I thought, that's like half the tour anyway. Why don't we just keep it in Estonia? Because everyone does the three Baltic capitals thing, and to be honest, like that's great. I love the other capitals too, but it's like I don't know. It's like anyone could do that, and this is like you've got like the special key to kind of go into the window of the soul of Estonia, and I think that's special, and it's really unique, probably because you've kept these people there have kept things traditions alive, um, and uh, and people are open for it. I mean, these people obviously, there's the tourism infrastructure is well set up there, so it is really kind of a special place in that regard.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I will come always and always back to this word kind of exclusive, and it is probably not for everyone. And actually, that is also something that we are kind of saying here that we don't want the whole world to come here, actually. We 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 are looking forward to guests who have interest in this, let's say, more of the cultural heritage thing, handicraft, respect for history, respect for ancestors, nature, all that. So it's not a mass tourism destination, and I hope it will never become that. Uh,
Well, not this version. The version that we see, it really can. And to be honest, I was wondering too when we first did this, like, does everyone just want to come and say, well, I want to check off Estonia, but I need to check off a couple other countries, and so whatever, or because I really think like, hey. I don't think there's a lot of Estonian Americans there, and I don't think we had any. And I thought, everything is so foreign here. So I guess it is maybe for people who are like want something really different. And I agree, it's not for everyone. I mean, hey, Adventures with Sarah is not for everyone. I mean, and we don't want to be either. We'd love to have people from all over the world come, but you kind of want people who are maybe searching for something different. And like, hey, the Estonia tour is probably the least amount of Instagrammable shots, and I would put that as a very positive thing. you know.
Yeah, it's for more deep experiences. It's like I said, it's more for human connection. It's not so much about, check or tick tick, the next buildings that are on the UNESCO World Heritage List, but it's more about things that you experience, the connections that you create. Mm, so yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, and it really does also remind me in some ways in Slovenia you don't have the mountains that we do, but I think the amount of like forested area that's covered and forested is quite similar. And
Mhm.
minus a few main highways to get around, it is kind of like all small roads. All the towns and villages are quite small. How
Mhm.
many people live in Tartu, the second city?
100,000.
Okay, yeah, like in Slovenia, the second biggest city, Maribor, is the same thing, 100,000, and after that it just drops off,
Yeah.
a lot. And that's, like there's I really like places where you get a lot of little things add up to something special rather than, hey, there's like these big things, but then there's like kind of nothing else other than that. So
Mhm.
yeah. Um, I really hope people take a look at Estonia as a destination because it is so different. And for those of you, because like there's always people like, hey, I gotta see these other places. Like, it's a 10-day tour. You can see the other capitals beforehand, or you got our tour ends in Tallinn, and people could take a ferry to Helsinki. So it's still, you're close to a lot of things. I mean. But I think it's a special tour because we just focus on one area, a quite diverse one.
Yes.
Okay, so our hour is about up. I hope everyone enjoyed this. If you've got any questions or any comments, just leave them on our Facebook page, and I'm going to go through today and tomorrow and answer them. Tour again is 29th of April through 9th of May. Helen's going to be leading it. There's a chance I'm going to be on it too, but as the guy driving. So who knows? That'll be interesting. Anyway, it's really something I think really special, and I hope we tried to convey that on the presentation today.
Yes, and I can tell you that I will take you to the best people that I know, to many of my good friends, you will meet many of my dear friends and visit my absolutely favorite places in the country, including the restaurants and cafes and all the dancing and music. So it's going to be very personal, and yeah, I love this kind of intimate tours or small tours where I get to take the guests to see my real friends in real life. It's really special.
Yeah, it is. It is like it's kind of like everything's for reals there. It's not like nothing's just put on. Plus, and I won't even give away the surprise, but we did talk about cakes and cafes, and there's one cafe that not only has great cakes, but it has the funkiest, coolest WC that I've ever been to. And
Yes.
all I'm gonna say is like everyone on
Mm.
the tour is like, oh, I gotta try that. I mean, it was just like, again, in the middle of nowhere, eating great cakes with some
But
funky WC. I mean,
this is pretty Instagrammable, however.
that might be the most Instagrammable thing in Estonia is like you got a photo of a toilet. It's like, yeah, but it's not just any toilet, but you have to come on the tour to see that. I
Yeah,
didn't put it in the
definitely.
video. It's like
Mm.
that's exclusive.
Yeah.
All right, Helen. Well, hey, thanks for hooking up with us, and I hope to see you in about 3 months from now.
Yes, the time will fly by very fast.
All right, folks.
I'm currently looking outside. We have about, I don't know, 5 inches of snow outside.
Whoa, and
And
what's the temperature?
temperatures in maybe, I don't know, minus, well, not minus, but Fahrenheit, it would be like around 20, I think.
Oh, okay, so it's like -10 or -12 Celsius,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, probably no snow when the tour runs, but if it does, it's
probably.
probably going to go away, and we'll have spring as well. So you never know.
Well,
All right.
it most probably there's not going to be any snow. I mean, this snow that we had 2 years ago,
Yeah.
it was very unusual for that time of the year.
Exactly. Yeah. Just out
Yeah,
of nowhere. All
yeah,
right. Thanks
yeah,
everyone for tuning in, and
yeah.
hope to see you in Estonia and elsewhere this year on Adventures with Sarah. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye. Nägemist.